So in the last video, we saw that we had a crank no start on this vehicle with a bad coil. So we gained fuel compression with no fault codes, but still no crank no start on the 4G94. Let's see what we can do. While investigating, I noticed that I wasn't obtaining a spark out of number one coil, which can give me a misfire, but not a crank no start. So I have to go a bit further to figure out why there isn't any spark coming out of this coil. Right, I got a spark tester hooked up to my number one coil, and while cranking, I'm not seeing any spark out of the number one. So I believe I have a input issue into this coil. Right, I'm not sure exactly where the spark is going, but I was having a conversation with one of the guys in the shop. They were saying when they crank the vehicle over and they take the O2 sensor out, they were seeing like smoke and spark coming out of the exhaust, right? So that also is a hint. That's why I'm going in cylinder to see if I can, identify the mechanical issue with this vehicle, and to obtain a bigger picture of what's happening using the pressure waveform. With this setup, I can see the ignition timing when it's happening, because according to the live data on the scan tool, I'm expecting to see like around 5 degrees before top dead center when the spark's supposed to be happening, right? But as I said, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I'm going to sync off for number one still, right, and the cam sensor, and I'm going to go in cylinder. So let me just continue setup. Plus I got one of the guys here to lend some assistance, right? He got to get back to work, so I got to move a little faster. So using this method, I'll be able to see exactly what's going on in the engine while I'm cranking, right? It's not running, so I can't do a running test. So all I can do right now is a cranking test. So I want to see the sequence, exactly what's going on, right? When the pistons is coming up the top dead center, and also what's happening on the exhaust and intake valves, right? So as I said, man, this is just like let's think about like an x-ray of what is going on in the engine while it's cranking. Right, so go ahead and crank. Right, so you see that we're getting spark right now, but I'm also noticing that the spark is leaking on this all this coil, man, and jumping on the cover. So that could probably explain where the spark is going, right? So let me just see if I can secure this a little better so it don't leak onto the cover. I'm gonna put some tape on this. I know this is not a fix, it's just trying to eliminate the spark from jumping on the cover while I'm doing testing, because that spark could is high kV and it's gonna damage my equipment. So let me just wrap some electrical tape around this. We had a guy here, he said he had one and it was giving problems and stuff like that, but I mean, I'm not here for that, right? So let's do this test over and see what we get. I'm gonna let the shop owner know that he gotta replace this coil, right? But for now, we're just gonna use it for testing, right? So go ahead and crank. Right, so you see that we're getting spark right now, right? Basically, we could stop right there. My apologies for all that background noise. Can't do nothing about that, right? But we got some information here. I'm gonna step to the side and save it. Let me just switch all my equipment off, and we'll be able to analyze it and make a decision on what's going on in this vehicle. Right, the blue trace is the primary ignition current waveform, the green trace is the secondary ignition waveform, and the yellow trace is my in-cylinder pressure waveform in cylinder number one. From the look of things, as at the first glance, we have good compression towers, which shows no mechanical faults. But look at when the ECU is turning on the number one coil. This engine timing is definitely off, right? The coil is firing at the incorrect time. It's supposed to fire before the top dead center, but it's firing way after. No wonder the ECU expecting to see 5 degrees before top dead center, and it's clear as day, man. You see that the spark is firing definitely on the exhaust and intake stroke, right? The blue trace, as I said, is the coil command, let's say, and you see when it's shutting off and you're getting that high kV, right, which is a green trace at the wrong time. So timing is definitely off, right? So we gotta ask ourselves what could contribute to timing being off, especially to fire the ignition, right? So we can have faulty cam sensor, we can have a crank sensor that's messing up, we could have a reluctant wheel. What else can we have? We could have faulty cams, right? So we definitely gotta go and do some more digging to figure out, why the timing is off. But clear as day, man, this timing is definitely off, right? I will ask them to recheck the timing and look for any difference between the two engines, the engine that they pulled out and this one, right? But as I said, these guys at the shop is very, skilled guys, right? But in order to catch these little things, you gotta start to take it to the next level when it comes to diagnosing vehicles. So guys, if you're not using scopes to diagnose vehicles these days,
we basically wasting our time and chasing our tails. And what I like about this shop, they're very receptive to exactly what I was explaining. I mean, they may not understand everything, but just the fact is they willing to learn and they want to learn. So I plan on just doing a little crash course one day with this shop, right, to let them see how diagnosing, advanced diagnosing is, and how you can use special tools or even tools on the whole to diagnose these cars very quick and efficiently so you can get them out your bay. Some may ask, how come I figure out this so easily? I mean, I love to diagnose. I love scoping. I love to figure out why things the way they are, right? I practice a lot on good vehicles and also on broken vehicles, right? I try to test everything that comes through, so at least, it's not new to me when I do see it in the future. So you gotta put a lot of work in. You gotta invest your time, energy, basically read a lot. I also do a lot of training online and in person. So I mean, don't come overnight, of course, but you gotta just be willing to go beyond to figure out, you know, what is going on. And as Brandon Steckler always say, you gotta keep peeling back that onion to figure out why. And that's about it in a nutshell, right? So we got a lot of information on YouTube. I mean, on this channel, other guys' channel, whether it be um Ivan from Pine Auto. I mean, you got Keith, you got Scanner Dana, you got what else his name is? Soundman, Auto. You got a lot of guys, man. Super Mario. You got a lot of guys who share information online on YouTube, and you can just go watch videos instead of watching crap, and take a little bit from them and add it to your skill, right? So I'm gonna call this a fix. Well, not really a fix. I'm gonna call it a fix in the sense of my job here is done. I was able to diagnose this vehicle and let them know that the timing is off. So we gotta go after probably one of the camshafts or the crankshaft. I don't think it's a sensor problem. It's definitely probably a reductor wheel or something like that that need to be swapped out. And I'll let the shop owner inform me, what he finds, and you could take it from there, right? But from what I'm seeing here, I'm firing on the exhaust and the intake, and this look like this 4G93, but the waste spark engine, not the coil and plug type. So I'm not sure exactly what they're gonna do, if they're gonna pull this engine, but as I said, man, my job here is done. So until next time, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, share, comment. You know how we do. Take it easy.
So this is the old cam from the old 4G94 engine. This is the cam from the 4G94 engine that we buy, right? We check the lobes. We say, all right, everything looking exactly the same, everything pointing in the right direction, no difference. But this is what I really wanted to see. And watch this. Watch that. Totally different. Totally different. So the cam sensor now getting a wrong signal from here and sending the spark at the wrong time. So we're gonna switch the cams and I will let you know how it goes.